So, what if the universe was actually actively trying to help you get everything you ever wanted? It's a pretty wild thought, right? Well, that's the powerful idea right at the center of Paulo Coelho's masterpiece, The Alchemist. Today, we're going to follow the story of Santiago, a young shepherd who goes on this epic quest for treasure, but ends up finding something way more valuable. Let's dive in.
This quote, this is basically the whole book in one sentence. It's the beating heart of the entire story. And it's not just some feel-good line, you know? The book presents it as a promise, a real cosmic guarantee that says when you go after what you're truly meant to do, all these invisible forces will start lining up to give you a hand. And it's this idea that gets our hero, Santiago, to take his first step.
All right, section 1, a shepherd's recurring dream. This is what the book calls the call to a personal legend. So let's meet our guy, Santiago. He's a shepherd, living a pretty simple life in the hills of Andalusia, Spain. He's got his flock, he knows the stars, he's got total freedom. He's happy, he's totally content. But as you can probably guess, that's all about to change. Something's coming for him, night after night, a dream that's whispering about a whole different life. So here's the dream. It keeps happening. A little kid appears and leads him all the way to the Egyptian pyramids, and right when the kid is about to point out exactly where the hidden treasure is, boom, he wakes up every single time. You can imagine how frustrating that would be. And yeah, it's pretty clear this isn't just some random dream about pizza. It's a call. It's the universe knocking on his door.
And that dream is pointing him toward his personal legend. This is probably the most important idea in the whole book. So what is it? Well, it's your unique purpose in life. It's the one thing you were put on this earth to do. The book kind of frames it as your most important job, your greatest obligation. But a dream is just a dream. Or is it? Santiago, just like any of us would be, is going to need a pretty big push to actually act on it.
And that push comes from a very strange place. He meets this mysterious old man who claims to be a king, the king of Salem, Melchizedek. And this guy basically confirms everything. He tells Santiago, yep, that dream, that's your destiny. And to prove he's legit, he reveals things about Santiago's life that there's no way he could know. He tells him, sell your sheep, follow the omens, and he gives him 2 stones, one black and one white, called Urim and Thummim. They're like a magic 8-ball for when he's stuck and needs a yes or no answer. And just like that, Santiago's mind is made up. The quest is on.
Okay, part 2. Trials, Trust, and Treasure. The subtitle here is Setbacks on the Path to Destiny, and that sounds ominous. So Santiago does it. He sells his sheep, leaves his whole life behind, and sets sail for Africa. He's full of hope, thinking this is it. His big adventure is starting. But the universe has other plans. It decides to test him, like right away. And it is not a gentle test.
So here's the first leg of the journey. He's in Andalusia, he sells his flock, he makes his way to Tarifa, and from there he gets on a boat to Africa. He lands in this crazy, bustling city of Tangier. Everything is new, exciting, and it's right here, literally on day 1 of his epic quest, that everything goes completely wrong.
He meets a guy who seems super friendly, speaks his language, and offers to be his guide. Santiago, being a trusting shepherd boy, thinks, great, and hands over all his money for safekeeping. Big mistake. The guy takes the money and just vanishes into the crowd. In an instant, it's all gone. He's in a foreign country, doesn't speak the language, has 0 money. All he has left are those 2 little stones in his pocket. He's hit rock bottom.
Now, this is a huge moment in the story. He's completely defeated. He could have just turned around, tried to get home, and given up on the whole thing. But he doesn't. Instead, he starts to rebuild. He finds a job working for a crystal merchant, just cleaning glasses. But then he starts having ideas. He's like, hey, what if we built a display case outside? And what if we served tea in these fancy glasses? And guess what? It works. The shop starts thriving. After a year, he leaves with way more money than he started with, and a whole lot more wisdom, too.
All right, next up, Lessons from the Desert. Subtitle, Knowledge, Love, and Omens. So Santiago's back on his feet. He's got his money back, plus interest, and he's learned a ton. He's ready to get back on track. He joins a massive caravan that's heading straight across the Sahara Desert, right towards the pyramids. And let me tell you, it's out here, in the middle of all that sand and silence, that his real training begins.
On this caravan, he meets this other character, an Englishman, who's also on a quest, but they are going about it in totally different ways. You've got the Englishman, whose face is buried in a pile of books, trying to figure out the secrets of alchemy from ancient, complicated texts. And then you have Santiago, who's just watching. He's learning from the desert itself, listening to the wind and paying attention to the omens. It's book smarts versus world smarts.
The caravan journey gets interrupted by some tribal wars, so they have to hunker down at this huge oasis in the middle of nowhere. And it's there that Santiago sees a woman named Fatima at a well, and he is just instantly, completely smitten. He falls hard. So hard, in fact, that he thinks about just ditching his quest and staying there with her forever. But she teaches him maybe the most important lesson about love, that if it's real, it doesn't hold you back. It actually pushes you forward towards your destiny.
200. What's that about? Well, that is the rumored age of the actual alchemist who lives at this oasis. The Englishman? The guy with all the books? This is who he's been looking for. But here's the twist. The alchemist isn't interested in the Englishman. He's interested in Santiago, the boy who learns by watching and listening. He sees something special in Santiago and agrees to guide him the rest of the way to the pyramids.
And this brings us to the climax, the language of the world, the final test and a shocking revelation. With the alchemist as his guide, Santiago faces his biggest tests yet. I mean, at one point he gets captured by a desert tribe and literally has to convince them he can turn himself into the wind to avoid being killed. It's intense. He learns to connect with everything, what the alchemist calls the language of the world. And after all that, he finally makes it. He's standing in front of the Egyptian pyramids.
So here it is, the big moment. After everything he's been through, crossing the desert, getting robbed, falling in love, learning from a 200-year-old alchemist, turning into the wind, he's finally at the pyramids. He's digging in the exact spot from his dream. So, the question is, what does he find? What's the incredible treasure?
He finds absolutely nothing, just sand. And to make things worse, while he's digging, some refugees from the tribal wars show up, beat him up, and steal the little bit of gold the alchemist had given him. He tells them why he's there. I'm looking for a treasure from a dream, and they just laugh in his face. It looks like the entire epic journey was a complete and utter failure.
But then, just as the leader of these robbers is about to leave, he turns back and says something that changes, well, everything. He scoffs and says, "You know, I had a recurring dream just like that a couple of years ago, on this very spot. My dream told me there was a treasure buried in a ruined church in Spain, under a big tree. But I'm not an idiot. I'm not going to cross an entire desert just because of a stupid dream." And can you just imagine that moment? It all hits Santiago at once. The treasure wasn't at the pyramids. The treasure was back home in Spain, exactly where he started. He had to travel thousands of miles across an entire desert just to find someone who could tell him where to look. The real treasure wasn't the gold itself. It was the journey he took to understand its location.
So we enter our final section, the journey home and what the shepherd learned. Santiago makes his way back to Spain. He goes to that old ruined church, finds the sycamore tree, and starts digging. And sure enough, there it is, a chest full of gold and jewels. So yes, he got the physical treasure. But the real treasure, the stuff that really mattered, was everything he learned along the way.
So what can we all take away from this? Well, there are a few huge lessons here. First, sometimes you have to go on a long journey just to realize that what you were looking for was right where you started. Second, you have to listen to your heart. It knows things your brain doesn't. Third, and this is a big one, you cannot be afraid to fail. Never give up. Just like Santiago, you got to get up one more time than you fall down. And finally, real love, it doesn't trap you. It sets you free. It's the biggest supporter on your quest to find your personal legend.
And that really leaves us with one final powerful question. It's the question the book asks, and it's the one I want to leave with you today. What is your personal legend? What's that dream that keeps whispering to you? Because the story suggests the treasure's out there for all of us. The only question is, are you brave enough to cross your own desert to go and find it?